there is money buried. After
You're sure of that?
I am positive of it. The legend is that he was warned at the Festival of the Green Corn, which takes place in the late summer and early fall, and he was warned that he was going to be robbed. So that's when he stopped at Mr. Smith's house, and Mr. Smith's home and farm was on West River Road in section 20, which is just like north of Comstock Park. Borrowed the kettle, disappeared, came back. The family was invited to stay for dinner, but he refused and continued on home. And he was murdered then at Rum Creek. Most of the search for the gold was in the Wabasis Lake area. The road has been relocated. When they relocated the road, they filled in a cave. And if you go to Wabasis Lake now, if you take where they go down to the boat launch, that's part of the old road, and the rest of it, you can see where it was. It's a 2-track that they've got cabled off. But they filled in that cave, but that's where most everybody looked for it.
The legend of the cave is that Chief Wabasis hid his money here from his tribe, and then when they filled it in for the new road for sturdiness, that the gold or money is hidden in this cave. So that's the legend. It's not the factual. Please don't come dig it out. I'm sure it's been searched for years and years and years before the road was even made. So, and we don't want anything falling in on them. Safety first.
I wonder how big that cave was.
I thought.
Have you heard anything at all from anybody that?
I think it was tall enough to walk through.
So,
but don't put that down as fact.
well, no, you can't. And actually, and you read articles that go up to early 1900, and people kept looking here.
Right.
Obviously, that many years and that many people, anything would have been discovered and gone.
Yeah, right.
So.
And if they found it, they kept it secret.
Yeah. Some of the stories I've read is that he buried it out in the middle of the lake. I read one that was written by a female that wrote romance novels, and went into great detail about his being burned at the stake, which didn't happen, about what his wife did at the time. I mean, the whole thing was written up and thought, wow, it's not even close to being accurate, but it made a good story.
Right, yeah.
Well, there's a lot of stories that he actually was leaving Plainfield Village, or his village there near Plainfield Village, on his way home. His home was in Wabasis Lake, in the bluffs above Wabasis Lake in Plainfield Township. And he was on his way home, but all of that can't be true because, number one, the village was gone by that time. The Treaty of 1836 is when the federal government took over the property from Indians. And I think in 1850 they decreed that all Indians had to leave the area unless they owned property, unless they actually filed and bought property. And there were stories about them going down on canoes and rafts everything to Grand Haven, where they loaded aboard a steamer taken up to Oceana County, where they had a reservation. So basically, at the time he was murdered, there really was no longer any village up there. That had pretty much gone. The Indians had moved out. I've read the Treaty of Washington several times, and that the reason he was murdered was because he signed the treaty, and that's not true because I read the treaty and his signature is not on there. It basically gives the Indians in the whole area, and it's a defined area, X number of millions of dollars plus, for you to put schoolhouses up and put in breakfast shops and so forth. But the law was changed. The federal government changed the laws so that changed the laws so that each individual had to draw their own money. The chief no longer took it. So the stories about he stole the money from the rest of the Indians in the village is not true because he was not given their money to start with. He was good friends of the House family. Andrew House was one of the first settlers in the area, and the family were friends with him. The Smith family, which I have contact with the descendants and got a lot of information from them to verify some other, some of the other myths and dismiss some of the myths. But he was well liked. Now, where it changed, and you'll find some of the histories in, like, history of Kent County, and I think it was 1870. They really, there was a lot of anti-Indian sentiment at that time too, like there was out west. And so some of the articles were written about him, which were not very valid, and because the family moved out of the area because of these bad reputations that he was a drunkard and so forth. And that's, I just miss those because you have a hard time convincing me that people like the Smith family and the Andrew House family, all these people would have been friends with a drunkard, Basically, I contend that that gold is buried in Section 20, someplace, and it could be anywhere from the Grand River to wherever, it's a big area, some big bluffs there too. And the Smith family are aware of that. The descendants are, they've talked about it. The family dismissed it, so they never looked for the gold. It was just a comment in the history of Kent County, basically. So it's a great story, and the fun part of researching that was trying to chase down all these myths and see how many are actually true, and most of them are not. So.
So this is our boat launch. It is free for use, and it's free and open to the public, not just campers. So there's 4 lanes, 314-acre lake, and it is Kent County's largest lake. So lots of panfish. You can get perch and bluegill and black crappie and bass, large and smallmouth bass. There's now walleye. The DNR has been doing a fish survey, and they have live populations of walleye now, which is a good sign. So very popular for your pan fishing and sport fishing. Comes out, so this is part of Chief Wabasis Trail. It comes out here, and this spring house is original masonry. We've done some restoration work on it, obviously, over the years, but we try to keep it as original as possible. And it is continuously fed through ground springs. I don't know what the original use was, or if it was just kind of like a place to stay cool in the summertime, just a little gathering place. So lots of frogs and turtles, and look for salamanders and all those spring house. People will get married in here and have small little events. Wow. Is that all right? So this is our trail that goes down to our beach, and it is a public beach for anyone, not just Kent County, but anyone that wants to come join. And there's no entrance fee or anything, so campers and public alike can use this beach. So our sandy beach and our playground swing set. We have a nice shallow swim area. It's nice because there's not big waves or currents. I live on Lake Michigan, so it's a little bit different than bringing kids here versus there. That whole far shoreline is all marshy wetland, and so that will never be developed over there, so that keeps it pretty pristine. There are cottages on this far south end, but as far as all that goes, it's all natural area, which is really nice. We have our 3 cabins. They sleep up to 6 people. There is no running water or electric. Oh no, there's electric, just no running water or bathrooms inside. But there's faucets outside that you can use. We run them for 2 nights at a time. So there are either porta potties down below out in front, otherwise they walk just behind us up to the shower house. Back in the main campground there's a big shower house bathroom. Yep, the sun rises up over the lake, so it's just absolutely gorgeous view in the mornings. They do have AC and heat, small microwave and refrigerator. And that finishes your wonderful and wild tour of Wabasis Park.
Oh my gosh.
Are we going down there? Oh my gosh. You're in for a treat. Hold on.
What?
This sign is what I'm painting.
Oh, okay. Ooh. Yeah, kidding.
Oh yeah, this is really surprised you're doing that. I watch your elbows here.
Okay.
They barely fit. Oh! Okay.
Can you back up?
Yes, that happens
Okay.
all the time. Glad you got that one on video.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it did any damage.
No, it's not the first time.
All right, girl.
Woohoo!
Oh, look at
Oh,
this.
jeez.
Yeah, this isn't gonna. Oh, wait. All right, zip that cart forward.
Yeah, I can.
All right, why don't you
Go, Norm.
There we go.
There we go.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
All right. Let's call us lumberjacks.
That was amazing.
I don't think there's any more of those, but we'll find
We'll
out.
see.